Hey guys, welcome to this channel. It's my bro's channel, Joe Famous. Here he is.
Yes.
So today we're starting a series on grief. I know it's something that people don't really discuss and they don't talk about, but we feel like out of our experience we'll be able to educate people, enlighten you, let you know what we liked, what we didn't like, what you should say and what you shouldn't say. And we hope that this will be informative. My name is Stephanie, and yes, welcome. We hope you enjoy.
Yep. I hope you get some encouragement and some tips. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So, my bro will join us. He'll join us later on in the video. But I just wanted to give like an introduction on grief and all that kind of thing. And like, I know people grieve many things. You may grieve the loss of definitely a loved one, or grieve the loss of a job, a loss of a relationship, just loss of many things. But for us, our experience, we are discussing grief in terms of loss of a loved one. People who follow us on social media will leave our description, our links and handles down in the description box. But yes, people who follow us know that we lost our dad last year on 6th September 2017. And it personally for me, it was the hardest thing I have ever had to go through. Like, I don't think I've ever had anything hard like that. And you know death happens, yeah? You know it happens, you hear so and so passed away. I mean, in the news, you're like, oh, these children died. And it's sad. You're like, oh, I'm so sad. How sorry. I'm so sorry for them. Or maybe your friends lose their friends or their parents. And it's sad, but it's never really hit home. And when it happens to you, you're like, oh my gosh, grief happens. I mean, people die. Sorry. You're just like, okay, death happens. How are we going to deal with this? What exactly is death? And even till today, I can't really say I understand what death is. I think maybe the best thing would be to give like a not really like a definition of what grief is, of just what grief is, so that we can better understand. And I don't really want to talk about the stages of grief, because I mean those are basic things that people know, and most people owe denial. Then maybe the last stage is acceptance, and then you start working to move on. So grief, as defined, okay, I'm just using Wikipedia, is a multifaceted response to loss, particularly to the loss of someone or something that has died, to which a bond of affection was formed. Although conventionally focused on the emotional response to loss, it also has physical, cognitive, behavioral, social, cultural, spiritual, and philosophical dimensions. So basically, grief is just response to loss of someone, and people have different grieving processes. People respond differently to death, and maybe my response may be different to my friends. Maybe for me, I find like I'm healing better when I speak about it, when I post about my dad, when I share things about him. Like I'm just really like sharing. But some people, when they lose people, they don't want to talk about it. They want to be in a hole. They don't want to talk, and they don't want to post about it. They don't want you to talk about their loved ones. So it just depends. Like, people are really different. So for this first episode, I'm going to focus on what not to say and what to say, and then I'll have a subsequent series, not too many, so that it's not always so sad. But and I think in the next video I'll feature my bestie Tracy. Yay! Shout out to her, because she's also gone through something like this. And we are really like, we really want people to know what to say, what not to say, and what to do, how to really support your friends. And this is just our experience, really. This is our experience, so don't come at us if maybe things we say don't resonate with you. This is just our experience. So for us, I won't get into details like of what happened to my dad, yeah, but he passed away on 6th September. It was, I think, a Wednesday, and I was in hospital with my sister and my brother. No, wait, was my brother? Yeah, with my sister, my brother, and my mom. And yeah, he was unwell and like went for surgery, and then it didn't go well, and things, And you see, at that first stage, no one really told me, Steph, your dad has passed away. Like, till today, no one told me. And I don't know if you should be told, but I think if I was told, maybe it would have helped me, because as in even a week or 2 weeks after his death, I didn't believe he was dead. I was like, okay, so what time is he going to come? He's taken so long. And your mind, I feel like your mind can't really fathom like what, he's actually gone. So for me it was so hard. Like I was super broken. But the first day, of course, the first day I really cried. And actually I think I just knew that he had passed away through people's reactions, like because my relatives were there, his brothers, my uncles, cousins, and people were sad, some were crying, but not really. But no one really told me. So even for like, I think he had passed like way earlier, and we were still praying and trusting God, and we were telling God, you know what, you're a healer, you can resurrect and that kind of thing. So that was our expectation. We're just expecting him to come to life, but really he had already gone. And for me, I'm like, wait, hold up, as in, you guys can be serious. He's gone. I remember I was talking to a friend at that time, and I was asking him, like, do you think he's really going to make it? Like, is he really going to make it? And by that time, he had already passed, but my friend couldn't tell me. And he said, let's hope so. And anyway, I understand him. I mean, I feel like for him, he's like, this is not my place to talk about this. It's not like, it's not my position. But I feel like if someone told me, I would be really, I feel like that healing process would have been easier. And I think there was a season, there was a point he was on life support. So I was telling my uncles, please do tell them not to switch off the machines. I know they were being really nice to me. They're like, okay, we'll tell them, they won't switch them off. And I mean, by that time he was long gone, but I had no idea. So I feel like when you're dealing with someone who's grieving, please always just respect their wishes or their opinions. Like, okay, yeah, so we were told he passed away, and people came home and they started comforting us and that kind of thing. But just respect what people want. If they, okay, like the first day people come and they're coming with all the flowers, candles, pictures of like now my dad. And at that point you're like, no, we don't want flowers, we don't want pictures, we don't want candles, because you've not even accepted that you've lost a loved one. So people who come and force, they're going to have flowers, we put it at the front, we're going to have pictures in front of the house, and you have people coming to visit you. And like you're just not in that position, you're not in that space, you haven't really. So I thank God for the some of I thank God for my relatives, like they held us down completely, and at least for some of the things they really respected our wishes. If the people who are grieving don't want flowers, please don't bring those flowers, don't bring candles, just don't bring things. Sorry, photos, yes, don't bring photos, don't bring, as in just don't bring things they don't want. Just please respect them, because it's such a hard time for them. They are dealing with loss. Do you know loss of a loved one? Like, you're never ever going to see this person on this earth again. And just really respect what their wishes are. And then be patient with them, because at that point they are really hurting and they can say anything. Maybe they'll be rude to you, but just don't take it personally, because at that point, and even me who was grieving at that point, I was so irritable. Anything small just used to irritate me. You're told, please get for so and so this, and you're like, why are you even sending me? Do you know I'm hurting? Do you know I can't deal with all this kind of stress? So at that point you just really don't want stress, and you really want to guard your heart. Like, for anyone who's gone through loss, you really want to guard your heart from people and from things and situations that are going to stress you. If you have a friend who's very needy and sensitive and that kind of thing, and maybe at that point they are still putting on their baggage on you, and it's really weighing you down in that period, you don't have to respond to their calls, you don't have to respond to their messages. Or if it's just people who are stressing you and telling you just things that you at that point you're feeling like is not necessary, like, just find a balance, find ways of getting an escape, because it's hard, and that period you'll be overwhelmed. You will get so many guests, people will be streaming into your house like nobody's business, your friends, your parents' friends, relatives, everyone. It'll just be such a period where you're so overwhelmed by people, and if you don't really guard your space and guard your heart, you might end up just crumbling. And people always talk, siku hizi analia sana, oh, she's depressed. So I feel like just guard your heart, guard your space. If you feel like a situation is stressing you, avoid it. If you feel like a person is stressing you, just avoid it and stay very far away from it. So for this series, I know I've talked so much, but for this series, I'm just going to focus on what not to say. Because trust me, people say things and you're like, are you serious? Do you know I've lost someone? So for me, the first thing that really, really pissed me off and stressed me and irritated me was be strong. Like, hold up, I've just lost my dad. How am I supposed to be strong? Like, be strong. How? I don't even. Be strong. Like, I honestly, what does be strong mean? Like, be strong for your siblings, be strong for your mom. And I'm like, you're not even giving me a chance to grieve my dad. We were really good friends by the way, my dad. That's a video for another day where we'll have a discussion on how things changed. But be strong, I'm like, what do you mean be strong? Like, that thing just blew my mind. Like, what? Number two, it was God's will. It was God's will. Wow. I remember one of my uncles told me that. I think like he was hugging me and he's like, oh, sorry, it was God's will. I just pushed him away and I was like, no, you know what, I can't even handle this. What do you mean it was God's will? And you know, at that point when you've lost someone, you will lose your faith in God, that period. Because you're like, me, I was those ones of, Yani, we've prayed and prayed. And I was like, Yani, God, you've done this to me. As in, I was just like, Sawa too. Yani, if you can do this to me, ni sawa. As in, like, you just don't care. So at that point, your relationship with God is not even the best. You're feeling like he's unfair, he's taken your loved one. Like, it's just so sad, it's painful. And then someone comes and tells you it was God's will. And you're like, really? God, is he even still kind? Is he still loving? When you go through this kind of pain, you're like, are you still loving? Are you still kind? You know, this was maybe like your breadwinner of the house, or he was a support system, and then he goes, and you're like, oh, really, God? And that point, you don't want to hear God stories. Nasiko Baya. Like, I have a really good relationship with God now, but at that period, even saying a prayer was hard. I just used to start praying. I'm like, God, I'm like, sour too. Like, you know, when someone hurts you and you're just like, sour too. That was how it was between me and God. I was like, God, sour too. So that it was God's will. Please, siseme. If you have nothing to say, just nyamaza. Don't say it was God's will, because damn, that thing. Hey. Number three, have you deleted his number? Like now my dad or whoever has lost their loved one, maybe a sister, a mom, a brother. Have you deleted their number? Have you deleted his number? Have you deleted his... I'm like, girl, really? Have you deleted? This is a day after you've lost your loved one. You've not even planned anything. You've not planned even the funeral. You've not planned the burial. And someone comes and tells you, have you deleted his number? Like, you know, those points you're just like, what? Have I deleted his number? Really? So once I delete, how is that going to help? Like, those things are so unnecessary. And you, at that point, honestly, you're still in denial. You're waiting for your loved one to walk through the gate and someone is already telling you, have you deleted his number? And you're like, okay. So once I delete his number, and then, as in even till today, I've never deleted my dad's number. And I'm like, why should I delete it? There's nothing wrong with having it. Even if we don't talk anymore, it's still there. Like all his phones, like our chats are still there. And you know, it's also a way of remembering. Like maybe sometimes you're sad and you know you want to remind yourself, oh, I miss this person. And when you go through the messages, it encourages you sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes it does. And then sometimes even maybe when you doubt, you're like, hey, maybe this person has gone, so do they really love me? Those messages will be there. Maybe they told you I love you. Maybe it was a friend, a boyfriend, just a parent, a sister, a brother. So that thing of have you deleted his number, forget that crap. Like, keep their number, keep their messages, keep the pictures. It's you, girl. It's you, or boy, or whoever. Then the third thing is okay. The third thing that I found really irritating for me was everyone comes, oh, hi Steph, how are you? And as in, you know, when you're grieving, that's not even a normal question. As in, you're thinking, you're wondering, like, this person is really asking me how I am. Do they really want to know how my heart is broken into pieces that no one can collect and no one can put together? Ati, how are you? And every single person comes. You're not the only one who comes. Their aunties will come and ask them. The uncles will come and ask them. Friends will come and ask them. Their dad's friends, their mom's friends, everyone. everyone, if it's your siblings, friends, everyone will come and ask you, how are you? So when you ask me, how are you? How am I supposed to answer to that? Am I supposed to say, I'm good, I'm well, I'm fine in the Lord, I'm rejoicing? Like, really, what do you expect people to say? I feel like that's just not just don't ask, how are you? And I remember even during that season, I posted on my Instagram stories, I just told people, like, honestly, I'm so tired of listening to how are you, be strong, take heart. But the one that really irritated me the most was, how are you? I am broken, I am hurting, and I'm just trying to put on a brave face. If you left me alone, I would probably be in a corner just crying and letting everything out. But you still come and ask, how are you? And you expect me to say, fine. And when you say fine, oh, fine, okay, that's good, nice to see you're fine, be strong, you have to be strong. These things happen, especially that thing of these things happen. Like, girl, as in that time for these things happen, I'm like, hold up, I think I've just not heard correctly. Like, these things happen. I know death happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, and it happens to the most of us. But really, these things happen. Please just don't say that to someone who's lost their loved one. This was like even, I think, 3 days into my dad's passing. People asking, yeah, these things happen. You have to be strong. And I know the older generation, maybe, they say these things like just as these things happen, like, psst, yeah, even me. Or someone will come and tell you, oh, you're lucky, you still have your mom. Me, once I lost both my parents when I was this age. And I'm like, how is that supposed to comfort me? It doesn't matter whether someone has lost a parent or a sibling or a friend. The pain is still the same. As in, it's still the same. So it doesn't matter whether you've lost your whole family and this person has just lost one person. The pain is still the same. And don't start comparing your grief with somebody else. Don't start telling people, I knew after 2 months I had moved on, I had gone back to work and school, and this person needs a whole year. Like, people are different, people grieve differently, people had a different relationship with their loved one. So you just really have to just be sensitive. I think that's the word I would use. Just be sensitive to people. Another thing is, they're in a better place. I'm like, have they told you they're in a better place? Have they? Did they call you and tell you, by the so and so, I'm in a better place? So what you're trying to say is that when they were with you and when they were with the family, they were so miserable, and now that they're gone, they're in a better place, they're happy. I'm like, oh, they've told you they're happy, they're in a better place. Okay, please, just don't say that. As in, that one, they're in a better place, I think is a topic for another day. Like, wow, it's so deep for me. Instead you can say things like, I'm really sorry you have to go through this, or just don't say they're in a better place, because what you're trying to imply is that they were really suffering with their family back here and they were miserable, and now that they've gone, they're happier where they are.